we will get going. Cool. Well, welcome to the Bacon Bites. It's a Saturday morning. It's not your Saturday morning cartoons. It's your Saturday morning business and applications live stream. So hopefully everybody's had a good week and excited for the weekend. And if you work during the weekend, hopefully you're able to take some time and enjoy this. Here in Seattle, give a quick weather update. It is beautiful and sunny. And I only give that as an update because I don't always get to give that update. We'll see what happens in the summer. Usually it's really nice in the summer. So anyways, if you're new to the stream, welcome. My name is Seth Bacon, and I host the Morning with Bacon and Business Apps. So anyways, what we're going to do is we're going to jump into things. We're working on a project right now focused around what it looks like to use the new common data model and so the CDM and the CDS for Microsoft, and building out an application. And what we're doing is we've been focusing in on creating an application that's able to track potholes in the city. So anyway, so we'll get to that in just a minute. Before that, we always like to highlight what's going on in the community. And so I'm going to bring up some stuff and we will get started. The other thing that I want to try today, and you guys will let me know how it is, but what I want to try today is doing some music in the background, so I'm not talking the whole time. And so I'm going to go ahead and give that a shot, and let me know, give me some feedback, what the thought is around this. So that should be light in the background. I did some testing, but you're never quite sure. And so got a couple audio controls. So let me know if it's too loud, if it's where that is. So anyways, so we'll get started. It'll be playing in the background, and we'll see how this goes. So anyways, so starting that music, I'm getting it from artist.io, artist.io. It's not artist.com or anything like that. Anyways, and so that's what we're going to be listening to in the background, is just some piano music and something to break up the audio. So anyways, as always, what we do is we start with what's going on in the community, and wanted to highlight people out there. And so wanted to highlight a couple of people. One would be Jeff Fritz. He's been a live streamer. He does it on Twitch as well. And so one of the things that I very much appreciate about Jeff is just his continued support out to the community. As a fellow live streamer, it's somebody that check out what he's doing, and he's got a lot of great stuff. He does a lot of code and some community stuff. And the reason I started doing that concept of being able to focus in on one story and telling that story is he actually created a live stream and focused in around Elgato Stream Deck. And so being able to push the buttons and stuff like that. And I think it was a .NET program, if I remember correctly. And so anyways, so very much appreciate Jeff. He's got a lot of fun. I think he was raising money for Girls Who Code, I think, is, if I remember correctly. And so he ended up dyeing his beard after he hit, I forget if it was a number of subscribers or what the goal was. And so anyways, so check out Jeff, and we'll definitely put his information down in the description below for everybody as we're getting started. And so check him out if you're interested in coding. The other one I wanted to... Who was the other person I was going to highlight today? I think that was it. I don't know if there was somebody else. I guess the other thing that's happening out there is with regards to what is it, the summit in MIA, Amsterdam. It helps if I show my content on my screen on this kind of stuff. Anyways, the user group for Dynamics Communities is going on next week out in Amsterdam. So if you are in Europe and close to Amsterdam, highly encourage you to look into this and check out There's a lot of great presenters that are going to be there. Where is the content? Oh, there it is. Schedules. Schedules at a glance. There was a number of MVPs out here for the MVP Summit this past week, and so a lot of them are going from here in Seattle over to Amsterdam. I know Mark Smith is headed out that way, as well as Neil Benson. I think Gus Gonzalez is as well. And, that's sad. So I can't show you maybe the sessions tracks. Can we see any of this? Anyways, check it out. There's a number of people out there that are doing some lots of great presentations. I think there's still time to get into these pre-conference classes if you're interested in them. It's just going to highlight Neil's, and I don't see Neil's. Why? So anyways, Neil Benson is doing a 2-day portals. There it is, right there at the top. Neil Benson. So Academy training, he's doing portals. And so check out that one if you're interested in the Microsoft portals. And so Neil is a great guy. I've known him for a couple of years now, and somebody that's well respected in the community. He's very creative in the way he gets things done. We were talking last night about his project that he did with theming, and so he actually did some theming around portals and how do you change different portals themes based on different things. So anyways, this music is very ominous as we get into discussion of Summit of Europe. So I'm going to go ahead and close those tabs and change up this music a little for something a little lighter, a little happier. If you guys have questions, as always, feel free to drop them down in the chat if you're here on the live stream, or down in the comments down below, and we will definitely get to those. Good. I'm going to go ahead and close that. So one of the things that we wanted to do, and we've been talking through, is this concept of potholes throughout the city. And so what I wanted to do is really go through sort of a use case of when would you use Power Apps and when would you use a CDS and CDM and stuff like that. And so again, using sort of a real life example that we did here in the Seattle area, in the Seattle practice of RSM, what we did is we worked with an organization that needed to track different things that happen throughout the area. And so taking sort of that concept, and what they needed to do is they needed to be mobile and they needed to be offline and needed to be able to take pictures and stuff like that. So so that's what we're doing here, is something very similar to that. A couple of things that we're going to work on. You can see the little Watson in the background there. When we are doing, so what we're going to do, it's going to be case management-ish. We're not using the out-of-the-box core functionality of the core components. What we're going to be using is case management. We're also going to be using, we're going to do the portal, so that way people can, they can log the potholes and locations. So we're going to do some geocoding and stuff like that. And again, that'll be something that we do a little further down the line. We've got the portals, the case management, and then also a Power App for the field worker that is investigating the portal, the pothole. So we're going to do that. So we got a couple of different things, and again, I don't think we're going to get to all of this here. This is kind of, we're going to break this up into a couple of different streams. But we did start on the case management piece, so tracking the case itself, and so we'll get into that here today. And then we got the music that kind of stopped in the background. Not sure what happened there. Did we run out of music on that? Sorry. Okay, anyways, this is not... Again, first time with this. We'll see how this goes. Little acoustic guitar going on there. Let's also add some piano. And so anyways, we'll see how this goes. Anyways. Okay, so what we're going through, again, the Power Apps, checking it out. What does that look like? And we'll go from there. So let's jump back in, just catching everybody up where we're at. And so here we have that Power App. So we'll go ahead and open that into another window. And so it's going to open, that was interesting. And then we also want to go into the solution that we've been working in, and we've been working in the Common Data Service default one, if I remember correctly, for the city of Baconville. So currently, again, this is where the app is to date, is fairly straightforward. So we got a dashboard that we've put in there, some queues. This isn't the out-of-the-box case entity. This is a new entity that we created. And so, and again, there's very little information that we had put in there. We got the timer going on. We got the timeline itself. So the activities, we can track that. The case source. So where is it coming from? So was it a phone call, email, website, walk-in? Who is it reported by? Again, just some text fields, some email fields, and then the locations and stuff like that. And so we'll get more into that here later. But this is just the basic case. There's, again, a lot more that we can do here, but we're kind of touching the surface, and we'll go back and build it out a little later on. So let's bounce over. So what I wanted to work on today is start with the CDS. We got this a little bit. We got the assignment, the owner. We got some tasks that we can go in on that. Where was I going with this? We had record the pothole location. So we have the reported location. What we need to do is we had the lat long, so we need to put that out there on the form. So let's bounce over to the form and do the main form there. Sorry about jumping on a little late today. What we did is we had went out and had breakfast as a family, and so that was a good morning, a good way to start the morning today. So okay, so we do have the latitude and longitude. Go ahead and drag and drop that. Again, I need to figure out why this isn't using the new unified interface. If somebody has the answer of why this isn't using the new unified interface, drop down a comment down below. I'm not sure. Again, we started with the CDS and CDM and started with the Power App and started a new environment, so I assumed it was all going to be done and not bringing us out to that other one, which was interesting. So okay, so we have that. We have the lat long kind of stuff. We got the quick create that we can do, the source, the reported by name, email, location, description. Let's actually do, and I know this is kind of going backwards, and this is something that there's actually something already out there if you're using the model driven apps and using the case. But let's go ahead and do the like a process flow. So what we're going to do is a process flow. We used to do those in here. We'll see if they're still in here. If I wanted to add a new flow, interesting. So that's a flow. Dashboards, 2 columns, Canvas app, form factor, and tablet. Yep. Cool. So what I want to do is a business process flow. Interesting. It drops me right into here as a flow. Can I do... Yeah, okay, navigating away from that. This is showing us the same thing as we just saw. just a different location. My flows. Sorry. Let's go up to 100%. Because I want to do a case to creation, or a phone call to creation. Hey, Mandar, how are you, man? Appreciate you dropping in here. Just working on creating a business process flow. And I feel like I'm in the right spot. I think only from the solution window. So do we got to go back to like the old school solution window then? Switch to the classic? So do we got to bounce over here and actually do like a classic business process flow? This is a process. Business process flow. And so if we're going to do phone call to case, we're going to start on the phone call. Unified interface only. Interesting. As a process as a task flow. Did they relabel this then? Let's do the new one. But you saw, I don't know, like how do you do that from this one? So if I wanted to add a new security role, option sets, mail merge fields, yada yada, flow. And when we looked at flow, where is the task flow? Because this is the right screen that I'm wanting. So I know this is the right place, but I have to go to the classic. So again, this may be something that gets updated soon. But I'm not seeing, So I don't know if the other place you mentioned, Mandar, is going through here, going through the common, and going through flow, but I think it pops out on a new window. So anyways, interesting stuff. This is where I wanted to go. This is a business process flow. Here I can ask what the information is. So on the phone call itself, interesting, you can set an image. Business rules on it. That's kind of cool. You can activate it. It makes sense. So let's do some light stuff right now. So the date field is we need to drop in the description. We also need some more fields. You can add a page and a condition. Interesting. We got the description. We got the call from, I think that's the right one we want. It's cool that you can add sections and labels as well, so we'll touch in on that in just a minute. Don't need the phone number. Start date to, from, category, direction, description. We can set all that kind of stuff afterwards. Phone number would be good, so that way if we need to call somebody back after they called us, let's just drag and drop these fields. We don't have to do sort date, actual start date. I assume those will all get populated. So let's leave that as is. We do need to know who's calling. So let's, I don't think, see who the call from is. So we got the call from, the description. So again, when somebody calls in, hi Seth, appreciate you calling in. What's your phone number and what's the description of the pothole? We do need to track stuff like location and stuff, but we'll get to that here in a minute. So let's remove that field. Oh, okay, good. It's just that one field. And now what we want to do is another page. And I think this other page, this is going to be the case. Enter a name. So this is a phone call. Apply that. This is the case. Apply that. I just figured it out. It's right next to the team flows. Okay, I'm going to save this, and then we're going to go find that. So here in the flows, it's right next to team flows. So if I go here and then look at my home, I feel like I'm in the wrong place. My flows, team flows, business process flows. There you go. And there's that new process that we had. Expired processes, translation process. Now these are a week ago. Did it not recognize my flow yet? In the right environment. Business process flow. A new. So yes, we're kind of creating this twice. But the goal has been, can we do this in the new place that Microsoft has created? Mandar, I appreciate your help on this one. Yeah, there you go. It's interesting. It's very similar, but it's different for sure. Some of the different things. You got a stage and a condition, which before we had a page and a condition. I'm gonna close this and we'll try it this way. So we got some data steps, action workflows and stuff. So our steps, going back here, same list of cases. So we need the call from field, save that. Add these components. It's another data step. It's interesting. We got triggered processes. So as something gets completed, let's do this. Let's throw in some fields really quick, and then also a new one. It's kind of a pain that you have to go back and forth like that. Where's the phone number at? There we go. It'd be nice to like click new, kind of like you do like with an insert, like a PowerPoint or like a row. Just being able to do that. So we got processes down there. I'm interested in that. These are the categories of the phone call. Interesting. Okay. Got some security roles, order process flow. Just clicking on buttons, seeing where they take you. Oh, so when you're on a phone call, which process flow gets shown at the top? Let's save that. Let's see where this ends up. So this again is the old school one. It's in that, it's in draft. If we look back at my flows, again, this is at, there's that one we just created. We should relabel this. Oh. I got too many tabs open. This is why I get rid of so many tabs. Let's update this one to be a flow. So that way we can tell the two apart from each other for now. We got that. We'll save it. And then what we wanted to do is go to the next one. So the next stage, it's interesting they call them stages. Before they called them page. So there was like the concept of a page versus a stage. So interesting concept there. And then when we go back to flow. So again, which entity are we looking at? So this time we're going to look at the case, business roles for the stages, and just going down the rabbit hole. Create a new business rule. Okay. So you can create a business rule for stage entity. Interesting. I'm not sure exactly why we would want to use that. So you can grab a workflow and do an action step. Let's fill this out real quick. So some of this information we should already have filled out. And so when we're in a case, what information do we need to complete the case? let's put on just a couple of things. The status reason. The additional parameters, actual start date, actual end date. This feels still like we're looking at. This isn't our case. Yeah, I wanted case. Okay, apply. Yes, it's going to yell at us that our fields are not there. Okay, here we go. This looks better. So case source, we're going to auto-populate on that. Created on description is already going to be there. Location is something that we didn't capture in the first one. Again, some of the stuff you capture as part of a phone call, but we'll get back into that here in a minute. Primary field, it's going to auto-populate. So in the status reason. So I just wanted to initially, again, this is the first time I've seen these team flows and use that. So let's see where we go from here. Okay, process flows. Save that. So Mandar, quick question. How's the audio? We got some music playing in the background. Is it too loud, too quiet, just right? Can you even tell that we had music in the background? Increasing the volume slowly. So I'm going to leave it right there. Let me know how that is right there. So I turned it up about 8 decibels. So let me know how that goes. So I appreciate you helping out on that. Appreciate it. Thanks for the heads up on that. And, keep me posted. Okay. I was looking for... Let's activate this thing. Actually, let's validate it. Everything's validated correctly, which is good. There's like 4 different things that just around this. So what I would want to do is create a contact from the phone call if we didn't already associate them as a contact. So that way we can have their information when they come back, being able to look up the individual based on their phone call and email. So we got a lot of stuff to work on still. But that's fine. So we're in here. Let's refresh this. This should activate. Should be in the right environment. This is activated. So if we go create a phone call, this is a quick create. So test phone call. This call to. This is a new layout. I don't know if I've seen this before. So it's got your contacts, leads, users, and so you can like click through there to find that. And if I have a new account, interesting. So it's making me leave that page if I wanted to create a new one. That kind of stinks. We didn't enable quick create here. So I wonder if that's... Let's do that. I want to... Squirreling kind of a lot. That's our phone call, the one we made before. Case sources. Not business logic. Do we see... So again, there's like... You can see your flows here under business logic. You can see this one. Turn it on, turn it off. Edit it. But, so if I go here to the app, if I want to edit this app, and again, it's interesting because when you go this way, it's actually editing like the sitemap and the layout there. So what I wanted to do was add the account and the contact. So on these forms, I want to do the normal form and the quick create form. All the views, sure. Again, we did this last week. What do we want to bring in? Active, all, inactive, my active. Don't need the accounts influenced. Advanced fine's good. And those ones, and we'll leave that. So we'll save that, run the validate, make sure that we're not messing up anything too much. Yeah, this was complaining before that we don't have any This is kind of nice. It's telling you what you're missing. And so I can go ahead and add those things directly in here. I can review what it is. So it's missing a chart. That's part of it. And so we can do that. The dashboard's missing a whole bunch of components. Why do we have so many dashboards? Let's get rid of some of these. Because the dashboard's just going to... You need at least one dashboard. Sure, we'll do the overview dashboard. Because the dashboard's going to have a bunch of components and stuff. Anyways, and then the other one we wanted to do was contact that form and the quick create form and the main form. And we'll save that. Cool. So we'll publish that out. Now what I wanted to see is if we do, we'll see that this side over here changes here when we refresh. And what that's going to do, should have changed. Oh, you know what happened? Interesting. So this is something that we included it in the app. And so again, the app views it and sees it and contains it, but the sitemap doesn't. So my guess is if we do, so we have the quick create account, and we can do that there, right? And so we also have the quick create contact. And so we can do that because we enabled it, but you still don't see them over here. So my question is, if we do a phone call now, and we do a call to an account, and we do new, there you go. And now the quick create account comes up. And before we were getting the other one where it's contextual and it wants you to do actually in here. The other thing that you're noticing is, again, we don't have it over here on the left-hand side. So what I want to do is in my sitemap, go ahead and go to my sitemap, update that and edit that. I'm going to add a new area up here at the top, and I'm going to call this we'll call it configuration just for kicks and giggles because I want it to show how this is going to be different. Drag a new group. Drag it. You can't drag a new group. What's going on here? Okay, there we go. I'm not sure why I thought that. We're just we'll call it accounts and contacts, and even though we know that's exactly what it's going to be, you shouldn't label. I guess we should do better job labeling. And then also contacts. I love this new ability to update the sitemap. Super duper helpful. Accounts. Oh, come here. Accounts and contacts. What we're going to do is change that back to call it contact information. Cool. Save and close that. Interesting, there's not a publish. So is it published now, even though I just saved it? Interesting. So it was still in draft. Huh. So you can save a sitemap and you don't have the option to publish it. Right there. So cool. So let's go here and refresh this. One of the things that you'll notice, and this is kind of a newish thing, but over here on the left hand side, so instead of like going up to the top and seeing these different chevrons that you would use to change it, it's actually over here on the bottom left is where you go to change it. So under configuration, here we see that information that we thought we did. So we had contact information, we got the accounts and contacts like we expected. Currently the contacts only has one view. This one has a couple of views like we thought. So again, just refining configuration. Oh, we can name it. That's misleading. I need to change that. I'm going to be super confused. Sorry. Do you have to have a title? Let's see if we can't have this without a title. It's not required. Is it going to be called new group? Ever try to play with things to see if you can break it? So we got there you go. So you don't have to have a title. So you could just have a list of things, which depending on context makes sense. So like this one, it's contact information. We only get 2 different things. That's fine. I like that. I like the fact that you don't have to have a title there. You can if you want, but you don't have to. So there's that one chart we had in case. Okay, anyways, going back all the way to the fact we want to do a phone call. This is a test phone. And we received this from, hopefully this is okay, Mandar. Mandar. Oh, I can't do 2 things at once. I was looking at one screen and go in the other direction. So got his information in there. So Mandar is now in our system. Call 2. Good deal. It's outgoing, ingoing. Save and close. Now what I want to do is go view that record and see if that process flow. So here's our process flow up here. So that phone call, this is the flow one too. What happens if we activated our other one? That's flow. This is our app designer. Save and close that. I think. The other, so we see here, this is our flow one, right? And I know I'm going fairly quickly. This is our flow one that we had created. And we know that because of the naming convention up there. What I wanted to see is if we go back to our other one, I think it's still inactive right now. So let's go ahead and turn that on. I like, interesting. So it's giving me an error that something wasn't completed. I'm not surprised we didn't try to validate this one and publish it. What I want to see is, do they act the same? I anticipate that they do. Here's that information. So these are new stages, which is interesting. Push in on that a little more. Let's validate it. Saving. One error found. Oh, this new field that we never populated. So if I click on this, we need to click something. Come on. So I named it case. Why is it not letting me choose the case? Add a page. Come on. Add a page here. Let me choose my source. I'm not thrilled about this. I know you can do it. It's one of those things but I need it to change up here from the fact that it's a phone call. Give me this. Page name. Change the page though. You don't have to like go through and put a condition, do you? I don't think that was ever a thing. Source, is it open? Is it closed? If it's open, so if the phone call status equals open, apply it. We want it to then go to a case. Come on, guys. This is way harder. Anyways, I don't care about this. We are just gonna drop both of these, save it, publish it. The other one was so much easier. Activate this, we'll close this. Once it gets activated. This is the part, it's funny because the song just ended, but this is the part it would be nice to have some music going so that way you don't have to talk the whole time. Did you activate? Interesting. So it saves, it validates, but it doesn't allow you to activate it. I don't know if I care. Oh, did you see that? There was an option to turn it off. So it was activating. So it is activated. What the heck? Okay, so let's see if we can't change the process flow here. See your flows, create a flow. Run a report. Processes, there we go. Switch process. So what I'm saying is that, can we see this app in the classic view? Because if you remember, when we did this, that doesn't make sense. Because when we did that, because remember we did the, where is it at? Switch to classic. We did the switch to classic and we saw everything. And when we created that process, it asked us if we wanted to use the old one or the new one. Model-driven app processes, yeah. And so when we did that new process last time, we chose run as a task flow. So I would have anticipated that this came up. Can you not have both of them active at the same time? This is on a phone call. It's active. Okay. I don't want to spend too much time on this. One last test. We're gonna deactivate this one. We're gonna see if that turns it off here. And because we already have it associated, I think that's why it's not going away. We're gonna get back to that. This one's inactive. You can tell it's turned off right now. This one's currently turned on. So if we create a new, this is gonna bug me. We're gonna fix the dashboard. View the record. We don't see anything here. So we don't see either of the process flows. Okay, let's, one last thing. Promise is the last one, and then we're gonna go on. Interesting, you can add existing processes here. And there's our flow one. Somehow it added, oh, one's the process, one's the entity. But this other process, did we not choose the right one? We're gonna delete it from the environment. It's totally gone. We're gonna switch to the classic view, create another process, confirm that we're gonna create one of each really quick and see if it comes up differently. So there's that flow that we looked at. Is draft phone call. We open it, we see it in that. It'll be interesting because it's in this classic. And I feel bad for Microsoft because we're having to manage like 70 different things. You notice that it comes up in that old, or in the new one. So, okay, we're just gonna name it classic. And the phone call is, or the entity's phone call, so we're doing the classic, right? So let's just do that. And I'm just gonna throw one field on there. We're gonna do one with the new, throw it on there, and just to see what happens. I'm gonna skip this one. Try to pick songs that were just instrumental. We'll just drop a description on there, it doesn't matter. Apply that, activate it. Interesting, when I did that, that used the new team flow. So now we're going to do unified interface. And are we going to see what's going on? This is that classic, the unified interface one. Yes, I'm really scratching my head because I am confused. I feel like these are backwards. Mandar, I don't know if you're still there, but what are your thoughts on this? Because this is... Am I reading this right? Is it... I'm going to save, we're going to activate. Did I misread something somewhere? And so if we go back here, look at our phone call, have the phone call, what I would anticipate is seeing the unified interface. Is this not the unified interface? What do they call this interface now? So if I go look at the processes, switch processes, I see the classic one. I like it. Yeah, I agree. It's a work in progress. Because it is confusing, right? Because I feel like that's backwards. I feel like I would have seen the unified one. Is this not the unified interface? It is the unified interface, right? Let's do some quick, the Googles. Dynamics, 365, unified, client, oh, that's definitely not the one I wanted. Dynamics, 365, unified interface. Oh, did they... So this was the unified interface. This, if you remember this, the bar out there, did they rechange? Did they have another name for this stuff now? Is it because it's Dynamics 365 customer engagement? Versus like a power app, so the model driven app. That's the unified, that's Dynamics 365, which is kind of misleading because it's not exactly. because that's the unified interface again. What is this? No, it's creating an app. Never mind. That's old news. Create your first app, design and build, validate, publish, manage an app. Okay. Mandara, I appreciate you being on, because if you weren't here, I'd be going crazy, because I'd be like, what the heck is going on? Okay. I don't have answers for that. I just have more questions and confusion. That looks like the unified interface just collapsed. I kind of like the way they have done the navigation here, but it's... Is this resizable? I saw somebody playing around with this before. Yeah. So, see, it's a responsive. Which is kind of cool, to have the responsive stuff built in. So that'll help with the designing. So it doesn't matter what somebody does as far as their screen size goes, it's going to be responsive. So if somebody has blown up their stuff, it's actually going to do that, which is cool. So one of the things that often happens is somebody that's configuring the system, adjusting the different sizes is sometimes tough. Oh, come on, 300%. There it goes. You have to get to 400. Wow, at least on mine. Now it's not responsive. Anyways, enough playing around with that. Wow, that was a long way to go to test that out and figure that it's confusing. And again, the way they're releasing stuff now, next weekend it'll have changed. It'll change back. So, that was not what I had anticipated working on today at all. Okay, let's go back here. This is the phone call to case. That one worked well. I want to deactivate these and delete them. It's interesting you can't tell the difference between these two in a solution. So if we go here to solutions and go back to this. Those are the two flows. The phone unified interface and the classic. I'm not seeing any difference. Can turn them both on here. Can you delete them? Up, remove, there it is. Delete from the environment. I don't want to. The operation of the property restore caller is not valid without calling on beginning request first. Yeah. Do you just not like both of them? Is it because they're active? No, they're both in draft. So there you go. Another case for the classic interface still. Anyways, let's turn this one back on. Let's close that. We don't need that. Those are duplicates. This is the flow. is very flowing music right now, so it's kind of fun. Okay. So go back here. Let's add the existing phone call. Actually, it's already here. Okay, cool. This entity could not be fetched. Okay, so you couldn't return the entity for whatever reason. What I want to do is, I don't want to make call in user required, or call to, in the call from, because in this case, when we receive the information, so I want to do a couple things. I want to change this direction, and so based on, oh, there it goes. It already does it for us. So based on the direction, is it incoming or outgoing? I want to change that to default to incoming. And then I also want to change this call from. I want to do a couple of things there. I want to... Do you need me to go somewhere else? Is it because it's an activity? Interesting, you can group them. List, article. Why am I scrolling? No need to scroll any longer. Super duper random. It's kind of cool, but super random. Can't find anything to show here. So you're saying there's nothing in this entity. I don't believe you. Is it because we didn't add anything to this? So what I'm seeing there, and it's a little misleading, is we have the phone call in here, but because we haven't brought any subcomponents in, that's why it's not... And I don't see a way to bring subcomponents in for that. So we're gonna add a new one. I think that's a new layout. So again, it's because we already added it. Let's remove it from the solution. Interesting, you can't remove it from the environment. That's good. Add existing entity. Let's try that again. I don't see, so phone call, because it wasn't part of that. Include all components, include metadata, select the components. Kicks and giggles are gonna do everything. Interesting, you can only do one or the other. Okay. From here, let's go ahead and click. We're gonna do the phone call. We're gonna not require... Did I miss something? Okay. Remove it from the solution. Add existing. Add an entity. Add the phone call entity. Make sure that something's selected. All the fields. All the relationships. Forms, bring them all in. Or those are views, sorry. Forms, dashboards, charts, messages, and keys. Okay, so we're adding everything. Bunch of stuff. Everything's still selected. Please add. So I still get the feeling this is still a work in progress. Interesting. I haven't seen this field before. Data. Clicked on it and clicked off of it fairly quickly, and at one point in time there's information in there. That's new. That's kind of cool. How many pages can you see of data? Which view is this? That was not there earlier. Is that the same thing? Primary field, case source, ported location, description, status reason. Yeah, that looks like our active cases view. Okay, that's kind of cool. Back to what we're trying to accomplish. Go to the phone call. Okay, this is driving me nuts. I don't know why I clicked publish solution. It's because I wanted to do the ellipses and they moved on me. If they can make that part faster, it would be amazing. I don't know how they make it faster, but you know. So they get paid the big bucks. Okay, cool. So let's bounce over to entities and phone calls and check out the fields over here. Oh, the other thing I need to do. Change my personal settings to be more than 50. There's some more options in there as well. Toast notification display time. I don't know what that means. What are my options for advanced settings? Interesting, it threw me over to dynamics. That's confusing. But that's just settings in dynamics. Ah, terms of agreement. Okay, cool. Easy enough to get to. Okay. Phone call, where did you go? So I don't want the... Does it switch the to and the from? Is it required? Or are they both required? So I wanted to default that to incoming. Direction is incoming. Direction codes, 2 option set, sort of yes or no. Defaults to outgoing. We're going to default it to incoming because we don't anticipate making a lot of calls out of the system. What we anticipate doing is having a lot of people call in and being able to do that. I would be curious. Yeah, that's always the question, right? So, I mean, unless you were doing a call pop, how does it know whether it's outgoing or incoming? So we'll default it to incoming. There you go. So now we get the call from, and I actually don't want the call from to be mandatory. Call from. is optional. We're actually going to do, again, I'd be doing all this over here, but for whatever reason, let's go to entities and just do it there. Let's see if we can't do it. Right, because we can't see anything. We do it in the default solution, did it come up? Oh, Microsoft. Quick create. This is using the unified interface. Do you have to use the actual classic? So if I wanted to do the case that we were working on. Still brings it up as the old one. I don't. Got no words. I created an entity in this environment. So there's got to be a trigger in the back end somewhere that is telling it which type of, obviously which type of experience it is. So we're going to change the quick create here. And we're going to change that so that way call from is, can we do a match? So the question becomes, do we make the because what I'm trying to do is, how do you quickly bring in information from somebody that's calling in without using telephony, and using something like that where based on the call that comes in, you're able to go ahead and auto-populate it. We can search on phone numbers and stuff like that. And is that a more efficient use? Okay. I've gone back and forth on this. Let's... How do I change this field? I want to change the action on this field. Interesting. Kind of cool. It's got the different areas. Interesting that the label cannot be blank, but they leave it blank. See, there is ways to get around it. Yeah, one of the things I miss is you used to be able to double click on this and then be able to go ahead and add the like change the field types and stuff like that, hide on the form. Okay. Let's go back over here and unrequired again. Require the call from. And the phone call. What am I missing? Am I going crazy? We're still missing fields. Okay, Microsoft. What are you doing to me? Yet another reason we have to go back over here. check this out. Let's go back over to phone call, go to fields, and from fields, what we'll do is we'll go ahead and require this one. Publish it out. From there, what we're gonna do is so what I want to do is double check that the lookups. Again, I'll try it here first. A couple of things we're missing is the entity of the account and the contact. We're just going to select specific views. And we're going to look at the quick find one. So that's the only one we need to update. So again, if we go down there, add the quick find accounts. Go ahead and add those. In theory, should be able to go to views and find them. For some reason that worked. And it's using the old one. That makes sense. Is it the type of view it's using? I think it's the type of view. So if you used a public view, it uses the new interface. So because of the type of view, it's still using the old one. And again, this is something that'll change seemingly overnight, because it'll just be released as a small update somewhere as part of a patch. So making the change again back in our solution. What I'm doing is I'm changing the find columns. And I'm going to look for phone call or phone number. It's already main phone and other. Cool. Cool. So those are there. Save and close that, and then bounce over to the contact. Do the same. Make sure that we can look at the contacts by their phone number. And we may call it a day after this. No, I want to send the guy an email first. Okay, cool. So home phones were not enabled. The address ones were. Or they weren't, I guess. So cool. So we got those ones added. Sorry, I got a hair on the mic. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. Publish out all those customizations. What we need to do is bounce over, have some people with phone numbers. So we got Mandar, giving everybody his phone number. And then we'll do a new. Got Bob Bacon. With his information. View Bob's record real quick. Email and social media at thebaconbytes.com. Go ahead and save that. And okay, now let's go ahead and do this. We got a phone call. It should populate Bob. Really. So So if we look for 123, it pulls up Mandar. If we look up, interesting, it doesn't, because it has a 0 in front of it. That's curious. So if we look up, you see that it brings up Bob's email? But when we were doing Mandar, so what you're seeing there is that the second column is contextual. I mean, like it's based on which one has information. So if we go over to Mandar's record and give him an email address. mandaramazing.com. And now when I look for his record, so again, if I start typing in 123, why? I don't see a rhyme or a reason with that. Put a comment down below or in the chat if you're seeing, I think there's something else going on. So there's active subgrids. We should I want to throw in a few more of these views, because I am curious if what's going on with this. I don't see the quick find view. It's just interesting to get the advanced find. Okay. So Mandar has a business phone number. Bob Bacon does not. He has a mobile number. So if we put in Bob's phone number here, that's not his phone number. I don't know whose number that is, so I apologize if it's yours. Phone number. We look at. So if we look at this and we look for 098. So it's bringing in the business number, but it's not always the same, so it's not consistent, right? So if I look for that business number 206, interesting. And now the email is a secondary. But if I look for Mandar, which is 123, again, it's bringing back what you're searching on. So if I look for social media at thebaconbites.com, that's going to come up and then show the business number. That's nifty and tricky and confusing. And I'm sure you can change it somewhere. What? Nobody's ever going to do this, I'm just saying. It's super good, but I don't know. You'd have to have a lot of records to make this worthwhile. I wonder if you could make that. So what you're seeing here, just a quick thing, is with the change view, we can actually change the view that it's looking in. So if I look for 206, again, we anticipate Bob coming back. For some reason, Mandar did as well. 206. But we should change, let's change the ownership real quick. Just to prove this out. So if we give Bob to Alan. And now we go create a phone call. Like, I guess it's other situations or other locations where that'd be helpful. So here we have Bob. And if we change this to be my active, I don't see that. Because Bob doesn't have 206. But if Bob, let's change Bob's number real quick. Let's change this one to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0. So he's got the same number as Mandar has. So both of them should come up. If I use 1, 2, 3, we see both of them. What we notice here is that Mandar, because he has a business phone number and it's matching on that, brings it back. Even though this one, he does have it, and that's why he's coming back. You don't see why it's bringing it back. So, but now if we look at the contacts and change the view to be my active contacts, I'm just going to see Mandar because Bob is part of the other crew. And so I'm like filtering it down even further. So if we had a lot of contacts, maybe that's helpful, is to see, okay, well I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I can see a couple of those. But again, if we look at that and change it, the view back to all contacts, okay, Bob, where'd you go? Interesting, it almost had to be reset. Okay. That's a cool new feature. I'm trying to think through that, because what would be the scenario where you have multiple, you'd have multiple users with the same, so multiple things would come back. Maybe an order number, an invoice. And so if you had an invoice or an order number and had multiple things, and being able to bring that back, so that way you can go ahead and filter it further down. If you're doing a lookup. And so right now this is going across 3 different entities, which is nice and it's kind of cool, but we should do that as well. The other question I had, there's so much, I need to write notes on this. So the other thing I want to do is a workflow or a flow. The email updates on the progress of the case. On the case, I want to do a couple of things. One, right now we just have a text field for the name of the individual. I actually want to create a new field. It's going to be a contact. It's going to be a lookup. Interesting, you can't just type lookup in there. And then here we're going to look up to the contact. Oh, come on. Everything else I can do that. Start typing away. So we've got the contact, advanced options. Could you do customer? Customer is the other special kind. Yeah, but we can't do like a third one where it's like, just pick whatever tables I want to do. Let me do multiple ones. Case, so it's going to the case, the contact, contact. That's confusing, but whatever. Helps if you can spell it right. Contact. You ever notice that if you look at a word too long, it looks funny? That's happening with contact right now. Okay, so we got the contact. So when we bring in the contact, we're able to bring that individual in. It's not required, which is fine. It'd be kind of cool if you could just require it, not require it. That'd be way too easy. And then phone call. No. Relationships. So what we're gonna do is it doesn't have a relationship to phone call. That's why I wanted to do a phone call. Originating phone call. It's gonna be another lookup. It's gonna be phone call. Oh, come on. Get me so used to it. Dynamics. Not dynamics, power apps, sorry. Get me so used to just going through and start typing in what you're looking for and then going. So, okay, so let's go ahead and go to the relationships, the originating phone call relationship. Wow, this is different. General. Yeah, this doesn't have nearly as many options as I hoped to. Can't define the relationships. Back over to the old school one. Actually, it's a mini to one, right? No, it's one to mini. No, it's a mini to one. Because this phone call right here is going to be so what I wanted to do is update the relationship so that way we bring in that contact when we find it. Eventually. Some very upbeat, exciting music right now. Go ahead and skip this one. So what do we want to bring in? We want to bring in the contact. We're going to bring it in from the call from. Again, because it'll... So, guess who gets to use flow? I don't think we still had one open. I'm going to close that. So what I'm trying to do is when we have that phone call and when we create a case from it, do we have a list of phone call activities? Activities. That phone call test. That should be, it's nice that it switches for you. Triggered processes, what we're going to do is action step. What's an action step? Did we figure that out yet? Execute process. Like, I feel like I know what I'm looking at, but I don't feel like I know. An action. Which pick list? Because I feel like we can use that process arguments. I'm not. It's not where I want to go. So what I want to do is have a workflow triggered. Stage entry. So when it enters that stage, do a workflow. We're gonna set it from the cool. Organization level when the record's created. Why is this using the old school one? I didn't want to use the old school one. I wanted to actually use a flow for this. Okay. Do it this way. We're going to create a new flow. Make it a team flow. Let's do it from here like you're supposed to. New flow. What we're going to do is when record is created in, is it dynamics? Power apps. Interesting. So what would be the trigger if we're using a web app? Because common data, when a record is selected, this record is created in the common data service. Okay, cool. Because I think that's what we actually want, is based on the common data service. So there's the bacon bite, the baconville. And this should limit it to items that we'd expect. Okay, so this is going at the common data model or service scope. Organization, so everybody in the organization. Okay, I'm good with that. So choose an action. I actually want it to do a check. If the originating phone call contains data. Can we do the originating phone call equals the originating phone call? No, it wouldn't be any good. Can we look up to like a parent record on that? Okay, so let's delete that for now. is blank. So what are we doing if it's blank? Okay, so fairly straightforward and is equal to, or is not equal to, what's the expression? So if it contains data, what we want to do is update a record. We're going to update the same record that we already had. Record identifier. Case source value. Reported location is the contact. No, I don't care. This is the values. Oh, reported location. Oh, these are the fields we created. Sorry. I'm catching up. The contact. Where is the contact? So the entity name, the record identifier is the case, and then we want to go down and find I see longitude, latitude that we created. Contact, there it is. And what I want to do is see more and pull it from the phone call. So do I have to pull the phone call in first? So I want to get the record. There we go. So from here, the phone call case. And how are we going to identify the record? It's going to be the originating phone call. Cool. Good with that. And now when we get down here, what I want to do is go to the contact, see more. Now here where the record is created. Nope, it's above that. Get record. So this is the get record step. It'd be nice to hide and show that and close that. And now I want to do it the owner. Where's the call from? Caller, call from. Owner, see more. Category, contact, description, dude. Do we leave a voicemail? Owner, call, phone number, processes. Oh, come on, guys, really? Because these aren't all the fields. Tune stopped. Okay, So let's, so we got the record from the common data model service. We are looking for, is it because of the type of record? Because it's a lookup field versus a text field? Are we seeing any text field or lookups? So can we flow (2018) Salesforce. Site address, list, employee construction. SharePoint list. And that's what you typically have to set, is a couple of different things. Does it contextually realize that I'm in a contact? So the get record. The fact that it has owner is a lookup. And then if we add an action, how do you turn these things off? How do you, do you have a stop flow? Like if no, then don't do anything. Okay, let's check this out. Flow, oh, it's saving. So when it's from a phone call, oh, cool. So I'll perform the actions over in the other environment. So let's go in there and edit this. So when we go here, go back to our test. Oh, this is already it. Cool, processes, switch process. Do we ever turn that other process back on? No, there it is, good. Okay, so we got this process that we're going through. Everything's happy. Next stage, we're gonna create a case. Phone call. This is all the email I want to populate from all the information I wanted it to populate from. So that should have triggered it because we just ran it and I anticipated it failing. Not found. So it's trying to find this owner, which makes sense. So if we edit this, can I actually put in that contact? Or do we have to do something a little more creative and crazy? Created by... Got a lot of information in there. Okay, well this may be where we end it today. Okay, I think that's where we're gonna have to end it today. Baby Bacon is getting up and moving, and so we've been going at it for about 2 hours. You can see Watson there in the back. Hopefully you guys learned some stuff. I know I did. I learned some stuff where things were working or things didn't work, more importantly. And so I very much appreciate you jumping in and joining us. If you haven't done so already, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. If you like the content, I go 2 hours and I'm pretty good, and then this happens. So anyways, if you're new, hit the subscribe, hit the bell icon so you know when we're going to be on. Usually we're on Saturday mornings. If you are interested in subscribing and more content, subscribe button, hit the like, let us know that you like it. Let us know areas that we can improve. Drop a comment down below. Appreciate Mandar helping us out there earlier, helping us out on the processes and just learning about the new process flows and stuff like that. So if you have any questions, let us know. Hit us up on Twitter or over on LinkedIn. So appreciate everybody stopping in today and look forward to catching you next time. Thanks, y'all.